Hello and welcome to another Parenting Wins podcast. I'm your host, Iona Chisholm, and I'm delighted to be with you today. So, has your child done well with their toilet training? Did they draw their first family picture today? Or have they helped you with the decorating? These are the kind of parenting wins that we're here to celebrate. And I've got 4 sons, and I know that parenting is a roller coaster. So buckle up, and we're in this together to support each other and celebrate the good days. So the subject of today's podcast, well, it's a big one. The subject today is birth. And I'm delighted to welcome back midwife Sam Hallam to join me today. Welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
It's wonderful to have you back.
Absolutely.
We had a great chat before, didn't we, about pregnancy in a previous podcast. And so today we're going to talk about birth. It's a big day. Yeah. So what can parents do to prepare?
Oh my God, what can you do to prepare? Sometimes nothing. The baby will do whatever it wants to do at the end of the day. But hopefully you've done some antenatal classes or you've had some thoughts about what you're doing, whether you want a water birth, whether you're having an elective section, or what happens if you have an emergency cesarean section. Hopefully you've done a little bit of reading. You know what you're after. You're in a good mindset. That would be my starting point.
Mm-hmm. Well, shall we start by talking about birth plans? Because we mentioned, didn't we, in the previous podcast, how important it is before you get to that time of birth to actually have read about all these options, up the choices, and actually be informed so that whatever happens on the day, you have that information. So what would you say about birth plans?
I would call them, I think they're important. I think for someone who has maybe anxiety about plans going wrong, they're not necessarily the best things to plan out everything, because you can plan out everything to the dot and your baby's going to do whatever it wants to do, unfortunately, and there's nothing we can do about that. We can guess what it will do, but they shock us every day. So it's all about being open to move around and change your plan with what's going on in the room. We will do, as midwives, everything we can to follow your plan as closely as we can. However, sometimes babies have got their own agenda.
And what might a birth plan look like? I mean, do they all look the same? Is there like a standard format for a birth plan, or are you free to do what you wish?
So depending on where you're booked, your midwife might give you paperwork. You might want to laminate a copy of your own printed birth plan yourself, bring it into us. That's absolutely fine. You might just say to your midwife, I'd really like to only listen to Fleetwood Mac in this room and no one speak to me. Okay, that might be your only birth plan. But as long as you know what you're doing and we are as calm as we can be, that was the goal.
So birth plan, then, it might cover the place of birth, what kind of music and ambience you might want, the type of birth. Would that be something people can try and say, I plan for this, but equally, as you've suggested, it may not go that way.
Absolutely.
But it's not. There's nothing wrong with actually going, well, this is my ideal. And for a midwife, is that useful to be presented with something so that you know what the person wants?
Definitely. It might just be, I want to stay mobile in my pregnancy. Okay. In my labour, that's what I want to do. Okay, that's fine. We can get a Bluetooth machine. So we might have to monitor your baby. We might not. It might be that we walk around with you within your room. Okay, that's absolutely fine.
It's all right.
We can do whatever it is that you want to do within reason, and within, the means that I have. I will do everything I can. It might be that you absolutely do not want to have an epidural. Okie dokie. You might get to 5 centimetres and say, throw that piece of paper in the bin. I'm having an epidural. Okay. It's really important that you move around with these things. Or your plan might have been, I am having an epidural before anything starts. And you might think, actually, I'm feeling quite strong today. I don't need to do that. I'm feeling okay. Plans change.
So it's a starting point, isn't it? What we're saying is it's a good thing to have, but it may not be set in stone. And one of the things actually that's just come to mind is the length of pregnancy and when birth might actually happen. And one thing we didn't talk about in the previous podcast, which we'd run out of time on, was, how long is a pregnancy?
Yeah, what a loaded question.
Yeah, well, I'm here to be challenging.
Absolutely. Anything really from, I would be prepared from early 30s, early 30 weeks. Babies can come premature. It can go up to sort of 42 weeks, maybe longer if you choose not for an induction. It's against advice or whatever you want to do. babies will do what they want to do.
It's a natural process, isn't it?
It is.
It's
So
really
we
tough.
call term 40 weeks, but actually 37 weeks is still okay. We don't class that as premature, but anything, so 36 weeks and 6 days would be premature. They can come whenever they want to, depending. It might be you have quick labours. It might be you have really slow labours. It might be you only get caesarean sections. We don't know. We have to sort of see what's in front
Be
of us.
prepared for anything, as they say.
And communicate with each other to make the best plan.
So when we're talking about what's in the birth plan, I suppose the big thing in the birth plan is what kind of birth somebody wants. What kind of births can people have?
Oh, you can have a water birth. You can have just a birth in on a room, in a normal labour room. You could have gone in and had a visit to your local midwifery-led unit. That might be closed on the day you're having a baby. You might choose to have a home birth. You might choose to have an elective section, or sometimes emergency caesarean sections do happen. We have to go with them. And there's different bits and pieces in between. It might be that you're happy to be in any labour room, but you are not lying on your back. I'd say very good. That's lovely. Use gravity. Stand up or, kneel. Use different positions to help your baby come down the birth canal. Or, so your cervix dilates better.
Yeah.
We can do many, many things. But again, it might be that you have sort of conflicting opinions on what you want to do. You might want to be in the midwifery-led unit, but you might want an epidural. These things don't necessarily always click together.
And whether you've had a baby before or not, a lot of it does boil down to the day, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
I think, it's being flexible.
Yeah.
So let's have a quick walkthrough, if we can, through those different kinds of birth and just perhaps give some headlines about what they mean. So the first one you mentioned was a water birth.
Yep.
What's a water birth?
So a water birth would be giving birth in a pool. It doesn't look like a swimming pool at all. It's essentially a huge bath.
And is that in the hospital, or do people have to hire them themselves?
Either or. You can hire a big pool at home. You can go into the unit. Sometimes there's a limited availability on those things. So you might definitely having a water birth and go in and find either the rooms are taken or they're just not available today.
So if you definitely want one, maybe you need to look into hiring. Your
Absolutely.
own. Yeah.
You might be going for a home birth, which is at home. You're not without care. Talk to your community midwife. This comes back to your birth plan. This is what I would like to do.
Yes.
You talk through the pros and cons of doing that with your community midwife, whether you're higher risk or lower risk. It's still your choice. It might be against advice. However, there's nothing to say you absolutely can't do those things, but I would really listen to your midwife. This is where the communication and the planning between you comes in.
And all the information we talked about in the last podcast that your midwife has used to build a picture up of your pregnancy will be the evidence that they're using to advise you on what birth is more appropriate.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it might have been that you've had a really low risk, absolutely nothing wrong in your pregnancy, but then your baby simply won't come. So you're being induced. That changes the picture yet again. But it's important that you know these things before you go in.
Yeah. So being as you've mentioned induced, can we talk about what being induced means?
Yeah, so induced means that we use sometimes hormones or sometimes what we call mechanical options to try and open the cervix enough so a midwife can break your waters, and then hopefully, potentially before we break your waters, you spontaneously sort of go off into labour. What we're trying to do is get you to go into labour yourself before we have to hook up a hormone drip. Different hospitals have different policies. They have different things available. So again, important that if induction becomes a conversation for your pregnancy, you know what that entails, what the options are available, how long that process might take, that potentially it might just fail, it might not work, and then where do you go from there? So it's really important you ask all those questions before you go in for it. But sometimes it's a pessary, which is sort of inserted vaginally. It gives out hormones. And hopefully those hormones send you off into labour. Every woman at every different point in their life is more susceptible or less susceptible to these hormones. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't. Sometimes there's a good batch of them. Sometimes there's a less effective batch of them. Sometimes they're really good, sometimes they're not. But that's the whole thing. We're trying to ripen the cervix to a point where we can go in, break the waters, or you beat us to it and you got
Hopefully
labour.
nature takes over.
Yeah, definitely. We don't want to be doing more.
What would a normal hospital birth be like if you've elected that I just want to go into hospital and have my baby?
Yep.
What does that mean?
You would be on the labour ward. You have a one-to-one midwife. We have one-to-one care throughout labour. There's a room to yourself. There is a bed in it. Normally you see a bed in a room and we all go and sit on it. You don't have to do that. There might be monitoring on your baby. So we call it a CTG. So you might have the bands around your baby, around your tummy.
Is that like a big black belt?
Like the belt,
like that, yeah.
That's it. So one will be listening to your baby. You'll have like 2 monitors on your tummy. One will be listening to baby and one will be monitoring contractions. You can say no to this. They'll explain to you why they do want it, or if they don't need it, we still listen with the Doppler, which we listened in community. At certain points throughout your labour, maybe feel your tummy if we're not monitoring, just to see when your contractions are coming or going. But that room is yours then. So you don't have to leave that room now. Mm-hmm. That is your place. That will be the place that you have your baby, hopefully all going well.
Yeah.
It's exciting. It's lovely. And that room is yours. So within reason, you can have the lights down. You can request no one really talks to you. You can request no one touches you. You can, as I said, I'm listening to this album that I love and I'm going to zone out. Mm. There is the gas and air, Entonox, pumped into every room. It's on the wall. It's available. Use it if you want to. It's there for you. Again, hopefully you've discussed it so you know what your pain relief options are. That's your room. That's normally the setup of a room. Is just there's a big seat in the corner, bits and pieces that we will use as a midwife, and then a bed.
Yeah,
and we just go from there. Really, it's all very led by the person giving birth.
Yeah,
we'll do what you want us to do.
And this feels like a good time to talk about the stages of birth and when you go to hospital. So can you outline to us what the stages of birth are, and when do you think somebody should go? It's time to go to hospital.
It's happening.
Now. Yeah.
You'll know when it's happening normally. However, what normally happens, sometimes your waters will go before you go into labour. Sometimes they won't. Some babies are born in their waters. It's amazing. So we're not just looking for the waters breaking. We're looking for contractions that are coming 3 to 4 times every 10 minutes, thick and fast. You can call before that if you're worried. What will happen is you call your triage or your maternity assessment centre. This is the place you first go. It's like A&E for pregnant women. It's the best way to sort of describe it. You go in, they might check you or ask to check whether they can assess your cervix, see whether you are dilating at all or how things are changing, how you're getting on. Might make sure baby's okay, have a little listen. You'll either be in labour or you won't. We might send you home and it sounds nasty. We won't really give you any pain relief at this point. So not ibuprofen at this point, but after you've had your baby, ibuprofen's your best friend, but paracetamol becomes your best friend. What we do want you to do is, science tells us, you release more of your happy hormone, so oxytocin, when you're at home. When you come into the hospital, sometimes everything slows down, so you think, oh my God, I'm going to go into hospital, it's happening.
Yeah.
And we might assess your cervix and say, you're really, really early on in labour, go home, have a bath. And I know that sounds horrible, but what we want to do is you're naturally more comfortable at home, not under the bright lights and the white coats.
Unfamiliar surroundings. Because what you're saying is...
things will slow down or potentially stop. Go home, let labour happen.
Yeah.
It's very scary.
Because it's actually better for you because you'll be more relaxed.
And it works as a pain relief as well, which is why a water birth works really well.
And so are we in stage 1 of pregnancy here when contractions are happening and the cervix is opening? Is that stage 1?
So we would call this sort of early labour. Labour starts usually about 4 centimetres dilated and you're contracting 3 to 4 contractions every 10 minutes. That's labour for us. You're in a labour ward or you're wherever you want to be. Pre that, we call it early labour. And again, that sounds really flippant, because it hurts and it's horrible and it's scary and we're waiting for this thing to happen. So we might send you home. We don't mean it to be nasty. Sometimes you can request to stay, but science just tells us you're more likely
you're not ready.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you will be in a couple of hours.
So when are you ready? What's that sign when you think, right, I've got to go now? Is it more contractions, more pain?
It would just get stronger, more and more intense, absolutely. But just because you're 3, we might not send you home. We might say, no, you're clearly going to labour.
Yeah.
We'll keep you in.
Yeah.
If that's what you want. If not, you call your midwife or you call, your triage. It might be that you're having a home birth, in which case you call the midwife. She can come out to you, depending on how your plan looks, all these different bits and pieces. It's very difficult.
It's a hard jigsaw, isn't it?
It's really difficult to
get the pieces
pinpoint.
together.
Yeah, it's because everybody is different, and what everyone wants to do is very, very different, and everyone's history is different. So it's really difficult to sort of give a really straight answer rather than sitting on the fence, which sounds.
It's hard,
do you know what I mean?
This is what we're learning, isn't it? That it's going with the flow. And how do these contractions then move towards the actual birth of the baby?
So once you've got into labour, which will be, like I say, sort of 3 to 4 centimetres, and you're getting regular contractions, that should stay then. If it does go away, we have things that we can do medically if we want to, if you want us to. But what's happening is your body is putting pressure on your baby, and the sac that your baby's in, that pressure then hits your cervix, which causes it to dilate. Depending on whether you've had babies before, you're kind of on a timer. It's not a steadfast timer, but we have an expected rate that we like to see of progress. What we don't want everything to do is sort of slow down and you're continuing in pain, and 6 hours later you've not dilated anymore. So there's things that we like to see. We like to see progress. Hopefully your body carries on and does those things.
What can you do to help that dilation? Is this part of standing up, like you said, like gravity help? Keep moving if you can.
Absolutely. Keeping as calm as you can. I mean, it hurts, which is not a surprise to anybody. But it's the only time in your life where the pain isn't bad. You break your leg, the pain hurts, it's scary. Oh my God, I'm crying, I'm in a cast. Right. With a baby, it's the right thing, and it should be hurting.
Yeah,
it's a journey,
isn't it? To that end point when the baby is born.
So you are losing your mind because you're scared and it hurts, and we all look at you like, we're all calm because this is normal. It's what should be happening. It's going to hurt more than anything.
And there's that moment, isn't there, just before you're about to give birth, when commonly you just go,
can't do this.
I can't do it
Can't
anymore.
do this.
I just can't do it. And
I
know, don't you? You see that because you know it's coming then, is it?
Yes.
Tell us about, the birth of babies. What's that like for you? And, what do you see? What's the process?
It's a special time. It's fantastic, but people will say, I'm not doing this. I'm going home. I've seen a lady pick a bag up. I'm leaving. You're not leaving. Yeah. In fact, you're having...
Just give us a couple of minutes.
Having a baby right now. Sometimes you get there really fast and it's really difficult because everything you should have done in sort of 10 hours, you've done in 2 hours, and some people take the opposite. Who knows? But when you get to that point, your body will start, we call it involuntary pushing. I don't need to necessarily be checking you. So when I say checking you, I mean assessing your cervix. So that is using 2 of my fingers to assess how many centimetres you were dilated. I don't necessarily need to do that. A lot of us, we can just look at a woman and say, oh, okay.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah, I'll open my gloves and we'll just get ready.
So tell us about the actual birth of a baby, and can you talk about, the head first and also the breech situation of natural birth? So
we like head down. Normally baby's either on the left or on the right. Sometimes you'll hear back to back. This would be babies looking up at the stars, sometimes they call it, as they're being born. There's an optimal way through the birth canal that the baby would like to come, which hurts less because of where the pressure is, and it's just easier for them to get through. Back to back, you might find that you are in a lot of pain in your bum really, really early on. Epidurals can help with that because it numbs everything off. A lot of ladies push prematurely at that point because you've just got this unbearable pressure because of the way the baby's coming down the birth canal.
Yes.
So when you get to 10 centimetres, the head will come through the birth canal. What we're watching for is signs that things are starting to move, start to open up. We won't necessarily get to 10 centimetres and we see your baby straight away. Things take time. The birth canal is quite high up. So to get through that out of the vagina takes a little bit of time, a lot of pushing. Our design as human beings, as females, we have like a U-bend, which is really difficult. I don't know why we're built like this, but you have to push baby through like a U-bend, like a toilet U-bend. Once baby gets through that, they stop rocking back and forth and they sort of, okay, we're getting there. And what you'll see as a midwife, you'll either see changes in a body, you'll see the body involuntary pushing, taking over. You won't be able to stop it. Brilliant. That's where normally, I don't want to be shouting, push, push, push. I just want to let you do it. And then you'll start to see, maybe we call it labial gaping. So things are starting just ever so slightly to move. great, something's coming.
Yeah.
I don't need, like I say, I can be very, very hands off the other side of the room and can very clearly see.
Nature's taking its course now,
Absolutely.
isn't it? And it's usually the head coming out, isn't it? Hopefully. The panting bit, don't push at this point. I remember being told
quite
to
early
pant
on say, when I tell you it's really important, you listen to me. What happens is your perineum is like, sometimes it's the best way to think about it is like cold blue tack. So cold blue tack will snap. If you warm it up and stretch it, it will stretch. So this is where tearing can happen and all those bits and pieces. Again, not an exact science. We will offer you maybe a hot compress just to, again, help things stretch open. We don't want you to tear. The dreaded word episiotomy, which is giving someone a cut, which again, I'm sure we can talk about if you need to at a completely different stage. But all those things are happening at that point then. So we will tell you to sort of breathe very slowly. What we don't want you to do is, and it's really difficult not to do it because your whole body wants to push.
Instinct, isn't
you
it?
just want to absolutely give it the beans and push this baby out with everything you've got. But like cold blue tack is the best way to think about it. What we want is the head to come through very nice and controlled and slowly. And we will say, this is where I want you to breathe really slowly.
Yeah.
But the ring of fire, you might have heard.
Yes. Oh, I felt it.
There you go. And that's that head coming through, that crowning.
Yeah. That's the hardest bit, isn't it? Because from my experience, the head, once the head comes,
it's the biggest part.
Then
the body will just come through with the next.
Comes through, doesn't it? And you've done
Fingers
it.
Crossed. Fingers crossed. Everything else comes through.
Yeah.
And we're not seeing a foot. If we are seeing a foot, we probably knew about it really early on.
Yeah.
And you've got a specialised midwife. It's something that we are trained about. We are trained to do, but because we do so few of them nowadays, it's sort of a hard topic for conversation, really.
Yeah.
Breech birth is not something we do commonly.
No, but you can do
it.
Birth,
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
We are all taught and trained how to do it. We just don't do it very often.
Yeah.
We'd all love to do it more.
Yeah,
because it's a skill that we have and we're trained for, and we train yearly to make sure that we can do it.
Yeah.
But what happens is everyone goes for a cesarean section.
And that's something we must come back to on another podcast because we've run out of time for today.
Absolutely.
We've covered so much, Sam. Thank you so much for being here. But I would love you to come back and talk about cesareans. Oh. We've got objects in front of us that we've brought along that we haven't had time to talk about.
I know, all my show and tell. It's just sitting there. Never mind.
We'll have a special show and tell episode, if that's all right with you, because I think we've got so much more to talk about. But thank you so much for all that you've shared with us today.
No, thank you for
having me. It's been so helpful. And so we're going to end, as we always do, with some quotes. And what I've found, which I hope is helpful to anyone who's pregnant and facing birth, is to think about affirmations and positive affirmations that may help you during birth. So here's a few that you may like. I trust my body to know what to do. Birth is miraculous, however it happens. And that ties in so much with our conversations of going with the flow.
Absolutely.
This one I like, and I think I might have even said this to myself. Every tightening brings my baby closer.
And tightening is an interesting word.
It is, isn't it? Because it's a
Sometimes
sensation.
waves.
It's not a negative word. And I think that's what you want with a positive affirmation. You want to be able to think positively.
Yeah.
And so a few quotes just to finish. In giving birth to babies, we give birth to new possibilities within ourselves. Because childbirth is an experience in a woman's life that holds the power to transform her forever. Passing through these powerful gates in her own way, remembering all the generations of women who walk with her, she is never alone, says Susan Arms, and she's an activist in the natural childbirth and breastfeeding movement. And then I think we get a bit poetic, when we talk about birth and the miracle of it. And there's a quote here which I think is quite poetic. It is said that women in labour leave their bodies. They travel to the stars to collect the souls of their babies and return to this world together. Birth is an opportunity to transcend, to rise above what we are accustomed to, reach deeper inside ourselves than we are familiar with, and to see not only what we are truly made of, but the strength that we can access in and through giving birth. And that's from Marcy Macari, who again is a birth advocate and author.
Fantastic.
Do you like that?
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, it's been so amazing to have you here today, and I can't wait for you to come back again and share more. We have touched the tip of the iceberg.
Absolutely.
So, do join us again when Sam will be joining us. But for now, thank you so much, Sam Hallam, for coming to join me. And so parenting is such a roller coaster, as we know, and it's great if we share it together and if we support each other and we learn together. So I hope you've enjoyed the podcasts that we've done on birth and on pregnancy. And this is your host, Iona Chisholm, saying goodbye.